Hey, welcome to the J&J Sports Express. I'm your co-host, Jeff Cadillac, and this is my co-host for the evening, JB Ellis. JB, how are you this evening?
Doing good, doing good. Getting ready to talk about some football.
Yeah, to all our viewers out there, I just want to let you know because of technical difficulties we weren't on last week, but we solved the problem and we're moving forward. We're getting to week 7, another exciting week in the NFL. Um, I'll tell you something. The game teams, some teams are hard to catch on, and some teams are just playing awful football. A lot of sloppy football out there. JB, what do you think?
You know what? I'm thrilled as can be seeing some of these teams. They're doing just as I expected, Minnesota. And then there's teams like Green Bay that I just don't understand how they've gotten so bad so quickly. I
Well,
don't know what to make of it. Tampa Bay is kind of in that range where they're just doing what they're doing. You don't know what to do.
well,
Got
Green
Tom
Bay.
Brady making comments that, being in an NFL season's like being in the military. I don't know what he's talking about, but there's some weird
Well,
stuff going on.
Green Bay is two things. The reason why Green Bay is not where they at. Their offensive line is atrocious. It's not giving the protection to Aaron Rodgers as it has in the past, as in last year. And also, he's working with a whole crew of new receivers. He's working with rookies. I mean, his receivers that he had last year that he could rely on, they're all gone. So that that's a big. Those are two big ones right there. Minnesota, 5-1. You mentioned, but their record against the teams that they're playing and not really of the highest quality in the world. I mean, barely beating New Orleans. They beat Green Bay that first week. If you look at their record, they beat Miami last week with a third string quarterback for part of the game. You got to look a little deep and look and see, how they'll go the rest of the way versus some good
So
talent. And their only
no,
loss was against Philly. So
listen,
we'll see
you
what's
can't
what.
go. You can't blame a team for winning. You can only play who the schedule has against you. So to me, that's a weak argument, and
No,
it's the
they,
NFL.
you know what? When you get to the playoffs, everydy's good. So we'll see how deep into the playoffs
We're,
they
we're not
really
talking
go.
about playoffs yet. We're talking about regular season.
Okay. All right.
Playoffs.
Well, let's get to that regular
Talking
season.
playoffs.
Let's look at the first game on our schedule for this week. We're looking at 5 very exciting games. Atlanta at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's at home -6. Who do you like in this game, JB?
So I mean, this is a tough game. I don't know. Is Atlanta rebuilding or are they just bad? I mean, could you play quarterback for Atlanta? Can I be a wide receiver? They're still in the NFL. I don't know what the game plan is in Atlanta. Cincinnati, though, on the other hand, they don't go out there and just beat anybody. I'm going to go with Cincinnati just because it's under a touchdown. If it was 7 or more, depending on what the line does before Sunday, you know, I'd watch it. If it goes over 7, I wouldn't touch it. But for 6, I would take Cincinnati. I think they're going to win. But, it wouldn't shock me if I lost this pick.
All right. Well, I'm on the other side of this coin here, JB, because I like Atlanta. Atlanta's 6-0 against the spread this year, which means they're a real scrappy bunch. They're never out of any game. They're always playing close, and they have a chance to beat you. Their record says 3-3, but 6-0 against the spread means they're playing way high and above of where they are. They're playing close. I mean, Tampa thought they were fine with a 21-0 lead in the game they played. Atlanta came back 21-15 and almost took the game if it wasn't for that uh, ghost of a call on that roughing the passer. But last week I loved them against San Francisco. San Francisco had a lot of injuries. Atlanta's very good at home. Marcus Mariota is doing what he has to do. He's just taking what the defense gives him. He's not pushing it. He's going into games. If he has to run, he runs, and he's not making too many mistakes in these games. I got to tell you, I like Marcus Mariota. Uh, Joe Burrow, on the other hand, he's playing well. He went down to Louisiana last week. He beat New Orleans that game was like a seesaw. It went back and forth the whole game. New Orleans took a late lead, but what they did is they didn't bother to cover Jamar Chase. That was he caught a 15-yard pass, turned it into a 60-yard touchdown, and that's all she wrote. Cincinnati won the game, moving away at New Orleans 30-26. I like Atlanta. I like Cincinnati actually to win the game, but I like Atlanta to keep it close. I think Cincinnati, if Cincinnati does win the game, they win it by about 3 or 4 points. They don't blow out Atlanta. Atlanta's one of those teams that are never out of it. They play to the end. Kyle Pitts last week against San Francisco, he got his first touchdown of the year. Atlanta's been playing very run heavy, and so I like Atlanta with the points. They even have a chance if a turnover comes over here or there, and they make the most of it. But I like Atlanta plus the points in this one, JB.
You're wrong. You're way wrong. 0-1 already for you.
Okay, we'll see.
The next one intrigues me, though. You want to introduce it?
Okay. The next one is Detroit at Dallas, and Dallas is at home, laying 7. What are your thoughts on this one, JB?
So Detroit's coming off the bye. Now, I don't know what, as a coach, you could do to make that defense relevant, but they're running into the right team because Dallas is a phenomenal team on defense. So they're gonna keep Detroit's offense in check, which Detroit's offense has been really good this year. But on the other side of the ball, Detroit's defense, me, you, and 9 guys on the corner could score touchdowns on them. So the question is, what's going to happen here? I think Dallas is going to run away with this one. And I hate to say it because I kind of like Detroit, but I don't see this being close. If to give the ball to Zeke, let Pollard run, you got CD running some routes. I think that they're going to, have all day. If Dak comes back, this is a perfect game for him to come back. That defense isn't very intimidating. He'll have his way with them. I think this is Dallas all the way. This may be your pick of the week.
Well, I'm looking at a lot of games, but I got to tell you, I agree with you on Dallas. Dallas is on a bounce back from Sunday night's loss against Philadelphia. They basically lost that game early when it was 17-0. They made a nice comeback when it was 2017, but they ran out of gas and they gave up a touchdown late. So the 26-17 score, that was the end of that game. Detroit is coming off a bye, but they have no defense. They rely on an offense, and a lot of their points and yardage and everything is like in garbage time because they've been backed up so far and beaten down that teams play a little bit lax on defense later in the game when they have a big lead. Dallas, as you said, Dak Prescott is slated to come back in this game, and I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's nicely rested. He knows the offense. I like the Dallas defense. I think they're going to have a couple of turnovers in this game. I don't see Detroit's offense really getting off the ground. DeAndre Swift and I think Williams is I forget his first name, is the running back tandem in Detroit, but I don't think they're going to have too much success with Dallas off a bounce back. Now, if Dallas had won on Sunday night against Philly, they might be of a different mindset. Cooper Rush in that last game had a really bad game. He had 3 interceptions versus Philly. And, that game was kind of over. I guess people were just watching because of the spread maybe and, fans of both teams. But, yeah, the tandem of the 2 running backs of Pollard and Elliott is a good combination. And Detroit, they're not going to have an answer for these guys. I think it's going to be a blowout. It has the makings of a blowout. Dallas hasn't had a blowout yet this season. So this game is definitely due for Dallas fans to see a nice big blowout.
And it's a perfect game to bring Dak back. It's not the tough defense that you have to go against. It shouldn't be a bad day for him. He can kind of ease back into the offense. It's going to be a 2-3-way race for the NFC East. The Giants went out and beat the Ravens and Packers in back-to-back weeks. Their only losses to Dallas. The Eagles are undefeated, so Dallas has to keep pace. So you want to make sure Dak's in the right mind frame and get him back into the offense the right way. So this is a perfect game to get him back and going.
Yeah, I think it's a good game. I think Dallas is going to have a good game. It could be one of those 35-7 kind of games. I think it has the makings of a big blowout. But, we'll see what happens. We both like Dallas in that game. Moving to Sunday's 4:00 game, we got the Jets at Denver. Now, when I analyzed this game, the spread was -3. It might have changed. What I like to say about spreads And points, folks, they're like interest rates. If you shop around, you find one you like. So I was looking at this game -3. I like the Jets in this game. I think it's a payback for last season when they lost 26-0 at Denver in week 4, I believe, or 3. It might have been week 3. But this is kind of payback. Teddy Bridgewater was the quarterback for Denver. He's long gone from there. But the offense for Denver is atrocious. The offense, Nathaniel Hackett is definitely over his head. You know, a lot of people think, well, he thinks that he called the plays in Green Bay. He didn't call any plays in Green Bay. That was Matt LaFleur who was making all the calls in Green Bay. And Nathaniel Hackett's offense is just atrocious. But what keeps Denver in games is the defense. The defense is very good. They held the Chargers in check on Monday night, even though Denver could have won that game. They were going back and forth in overtime, and because of a muff punt late in their territory, deep in their territory, Chargers recovered, ran a couple of plays to get closer, and kicked a field goal. So, you know, the Jets last week, come on, they were gangbusters against Green Bay. They were like all over Green Bay. I mean, if you just saw that one game, JB, you would think the Jets have been a great team for a long time because they were, you know, running on all cylinders in that game. So, your thoughts on this? I don't want to.
So, Denver, 2 words for you: fire him. Fire him now. Get rid of him. You know how he got on the plane and got back home from San Diego or LA. I keep wanting to put the Chargers back in San Diego. I got the baseball game on in the background. So seriously, you know, if there's ever a reason to leave the coach at the airport, this guy cannot win games. He's a bad coach. He has a great defense. You know, Russell Wilson threw for 15 yards in the second half. Russell Wilson, 15 yards. Once again, Jeff, after we score touchdowns on the Detroit defense, we could go play quarterback for Denver and probably get 20 yards. It'd be better than a guy that's making how much? So, you know, this guy's got to go. He doesn't know how to call plays. He doesn't know when he should run, when he should pass. Doesn't know if he should go for field goals. The Jets have a very good coach in Robert Saleh. You know, the guy comes from San Francisco. He's done a great job building this team. They had an excellent draft. You know, Breece Hall looks like he's the real deal. Sauce Gardner is unbelievable right now. They can have the rookie of the year on both sides of the ball. You know, Jets all the way. And, you know, it's hard to say that. And who would think? I'm calling for the Jets to cover by a touchdown here. 7 points. Forget your 3, 1.5. Go up to 7. I got you with the Jets.
Well, I'll tell you that the Jets, Zach Wilson had a nice game last week. Like I said, Jets special teams had a block punt for touchdown. They held Green Bay in check. I believe Aaron Rodgers was sacked 4 times. The offensive line is not the same for Green Bay, as I was saying earlier. Denver is going to have problems, but I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side. I think the Jets have a chance to win. I think it'll come down to the end because Denver's defense is really tough. They don't get blown out of any games. They really play tough because their defense is tough. I mean, they lost in overtime to Indy by 3. They lose to the Chargers by 3. They lost. They beat Seattle by 1. They have close games because their defense keeps them still in the game. The Jets have to be very careful not to turn the ball over in this game. They start turning the ball over. I don't care if you turn it over. If you turn it over deep in your own territory, you're going to lose. Okay? This is a simple fact. If you turn the ball over within the 20-yard line, you give at least a field goal to the other team. And if they do it a couple of times, one of them might turn into a touchdown. So the Jets can't take Denver lightly because their defense is really tough.
Jeff, Denver got beat by a kicker that couldn't stand. Russell Wilson had 15 yards in the second half.
Yeah,
this team is a fraud.
I'm talking about their defense. The defense,
unless the defense is getting the ball in the end zone, this team is not going to win.
I didn't say they are, but I just said Turnovers will play very hefty in this game, and the Jets have to be careful. If
Oh,
they
I
have a
agree
good,
with you on that.
they
I
have a
agree
good game
completely.
plan, listen, if they have the good game plan, they'll get it done. But I like the Jets in this game to win.
The Jets finally have a good coach. This hasn't happened since what, Parcells was there. I don't think Sal is in the same class as Parcells. So I don't think I'm crazy, but this guy can coach. He's got the guys behind him. You know, Zach Wilson came back. He's done some good things. They got a lot of young talent on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to win this game. They're going to go to Denver.
Good.
Jets are on a mission. Don't mess with
Good.
them.
Okay. The next game we're looking at is the Sunday night game. It's Pittsburgh at Miami. Currently, Miami is the favorite by 7. Your thoughts, JB? How do you like it?
I would have loved this game in like 1984, back when Dan Marino played. Looks like I need plans for Sunday night because the NFL's got to fix this primetime scheduling thing. Pittsburgh, even with as good as a coach as Tomlin is, they're not a very good team right now. Whether you play Pickett, who got hurt, if you got Trubisky, he's done great things with some bad quarterbacks, but this team is just not that good. Miami, on the other hand, it is, um, is Tua playing this week? I believe so. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff.
Yeah, he's slated to play. So as of right now, on Wednesday, he is slated to play, but we'll see what happens with the rest of the week.
Yeah, so I mean, if Tua plays, I gotta like Miami here. I think that they're just the better team.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm on the other side with Pittsburgh because I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me
This
why.
this is
Educate me.
this is the game within a game. Do you know who one of the coaches is for Pittsburgh?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
All right, Brian Flores is the defensive assistant and linebackers coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He would like nothing more than to go back to Miami and win this game. This is the psychological effect that football has. He goes back there, he's probably pumping up the defense the whole week, telling them, I don't care if you lose all the other games, you got to win this one for me. He's got the offense, he's got the team, he's got Mike Tomlin's ear. They are going to play this game for Brian Flores. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see interviews. If Pittsburgh wins, they're going to interview Brian Flores after the game because that's the headline within the headline.
So this is the win one for the Gipper game?
Sort of, because I don't think he should have been fired. I don't think he had 2 winning seasons out of 3.
Oh, I agree with you
You got to
completely.
give the guy a chance. They bring in some guy, forget it. That's the side story. The defense for Pittsburgh is coming around. If you notice, even against Tampa Bay on Sunday, okay, Pickett goes down. Trubisky comes in. They make the game simpler. But the defense played the game. They held Tom Brady and company to 4 field goals. And they had a touchdown late in the game, Tampa Bay, and they held them. They needed that 2-point conversion. They didn't get it. So the Pittsburgh defense is coming around. Granted, Tampa Bay is not the same team. I don't like Todd Bowles as a head coach. I think he's soft on the players. He's not the rah-rah kind of guy that Bruce Arians is. It's a totally different team with Todd Bowles as the coach. But you still got a lot of the same players. Excuse me. You still got a lot of the same players. Problem is, Tom Brady, doesn't look comfortable out there. His offensive line is not doing the job that's asked. They have no Tampa Bay doesn't even have a legit running game.
He's in his 3rd tour in the desert of Tampa Bay.
Well,
I lost all respect for Tom Brady today.
They don't have a good running game also, so it's a different game, but different team. But Pittsburgh still did what they had to do, and they held Tom Brady and Tampa Bay in check. They won the game. Again, the defense is coming around. Brian Flores also knows Tua and the Miami offense. So he knows his weaknesses, he knows his strengths. That's what he's feeding to the defense the whole week. I like Pittsburgh in this game. I think they might even have the upset this week again at Miami.
Wow, you're calling it upset. I love it.
I
Jeff,
I, I truly
Jeff is
think
going out there. I like it.
it's going to be Pittsburgh's day and night, and they might even listen. If Trubisky or Pickett, whoever comes back for this game, they play a good game. You know, I think it's going to be coming down to the wire. Maybe 3 points or so separates the winner from the loser in this game.
I want to know how much Roger Goodell has invested in Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NHL, because these primetime games are pitiful, disgusting. Listen, the last 2 weeks and this week coming up, we have been treated to some of the worst football I've seen in my 40 plus years walking the face of this earth.
Well, 2 weeks ago, you had Matt Ryan versus Russell Wilson. That was supposed to be the marquee. You did not have that on Thursday night because you had it, but the teams, couldn't make heads or tails. Then this last week, you had Justin Fields, who was supposed to be, up and comer against Carson Wentz. So, and Washington was supposed to be turned around as well. But now that Carson Wentz is out, you got Taylor Heineke. I actually like Taylor Heineke. He's hungry. He knows the offense in Washington. That's another game for another day. But we'll see what's going on. And then we're going to the Monday night football game here. Chicago at the New England Patriots. New England Patriots are home, laying 7.5. What do you think there, JB?
Listen, Chicago couldn't get the ball in how many times on the other night when they played Washington? New England knows how to scheme defenses. They can shut people down. Belichick is a great scheme coach. This is going to be a bad game. There's talks now about the Bears traded Herbert, the running back, and making some other trades. They're
Herbert?
selling, Khalil Herbert. So they're kind of already given up on this year. I think that New England's going to just walk away with this one. I would say this is going to be between 10 and 13 points when it's all said and done. And I don't think Justin Fields is getting a chance to show what he could do. I don't think he's as bad as they're making him out to be. Do I think he's, the other Herbert, over in LA? No. I don't think he's in that class of quarterback, but, I think he's better than a lot of other young quarterbacks out there. And I just don't think he's had that opportunity with that offensive line and that offense play calling. I think it's a shame to see because he's, how long are you going to stick with a guy?
Well, I got to agree with you with New England. Justin Fields is a run first, pass second kind of quarterback. I'm not too crazy about him. He couldn't get the ball in to win the game. I had Chicago last week. I liked them on Thursday night. All they needed was they had first down like on the 4-yard line. They couldn't get into the end zone to win the game. How bad is that? It's terrible. I think Chicago is going to rethink Justin Fields after the season. They're stuck with him for the season. They'll see what happens. On the other hand, you got New England. Bill Belichick loves playing against inexperienced quarterbacks. He basically throws the kitchen sink at them. And that's what he's going to do this time. And also, Bailey Zappi, baby. Come on. The guy's playing very well for New England. He's doing the job. Mac Jones comes back, you might have a problem. This might be a Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe kind of scenario, because right now Bailey Zappi, he's winning games, and he's not winning them by 2 points. He's doing the job.
There's no way I go back to Mac Jones until this kid Zappi shows me he can't play.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. What did he do last week? He is on fire. With that offense, with who he has in his offense, because that offense is not anywhere near, people that their names. But he's out there doing what needs to be done and scoring points and passing for phenomenal yardage. I want that guy playing quarterback.
Yeah, New England does have a very good running back, and they're relying on their run game, which is helping him out. It's taking a lot of pressure off his back, Zappi's shoulders, so he's able to sit in the pocket and pick the defense apart. He did win against Cleveland. He did win the week before. I forget who it was. The previous week, I forget who they played against 2 weeks ago. I can't think off the top of my head.
Rodgers, Green Bay.
No, there was a game
That
in
was
between.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I just can't think off the top of my head.
Was it Baltimore? Was it that game?
No. It'll probably come to me later, but doesn't matter. He's been in 3 games. He started 2. He's won both of them. He came in after Brian Hoyer got injured in Green Bay, and he did a nice job, filling out. I mean, they lost that game in overtime to Green Bay, but, what are you going to do? I like New England. New England, they're not as good as Buffalo, don't get me wrong, but the defense also is playing well for New England. They're keeping the game simple, and I like them on Monday night to win big.
So we spoke about the 3rd and 4th best team in the AFC East today, Miami and New England, because guess who's not 3rd or 4th? The New York Jets. And I'm not talking about record-wise. I'm talking about talent-wise at the moment. Miami, with what they did to Tua, they totally put their season in a tailspin. And New England, unfortunately, they have a great coach and a lot of good pieces, but no stars. That I think the Jets, because of their draft, have a little bit more star power. That they're actually above both of those teams at the moment, both record-wise and talent-wise. Who would ever think I'd be saying that?
Yeah.
Save this for 20 years when they do nothing with it.
This soon.
Exactly. You gotta love it. So where can people find you, Jeff?
Okay. There's a whole list of places you can find me. You can always find me here on J&J Sports Express, on Sideline Sports on Wednesday nights. You can find my whole NFL analysis of all the games for free at jeffcadillac.com. I write articles every week for sportskita.com. Just look for the betting section, and every week write a couple of articles there. I'm on Twitter at JeffCadillac1, and you can find me on the Rick Kamler Show, Sports Live on the Better Sports Network app on Friday nights. We do the NFL schedule with Rick Kamler on Friday nights.
All right. What about on Twitter?
On Twitter at JeffCadillac1. You get my best bet of the week on Fridays. Hey, listen, I need some followers, folks. So if you're watching,
this guy's on fire. If you're not following him, you're losing money.
Yeah, I'm 5-1 so far on Twitter with my best bet of the week.
You realize the ROI on that? If you put $100 per game at 5-1, you'd be sitting nice and pretty right now. So you know what? You should all be ashamed of yourself if you're not following Jeff Cadillac 1. But anyway, JB_the program on Twitter. Tonight I'll be on the South Florida Sports Exchange at 9 p.m. 11:05 tonight. We got both sides of the coin. Then you'll see me next week on Tuesday, right here on Sideline Sports at 8:30. Plus, who knows where else? I think I got a guest spot on Monday, a call-in segment. So I'm just all over the place. Make sure you follow it. JB_the program on Twitter. But follow Jeff Cadillac 1. Don't you want to make some money? I want to make money. I follow him every week. 5-1. All right, guys, we're out of here. Have a good one.